These things you can see the differences I have pulled in a tabular form. The difference between NAT gateway and NAT instances. Whatever we went through, I consulted some of them and I pulled the additional information from documentation. Okay, later on you can go through. Right. Now, what is the next topic? VPGs and customer gateways, VPNs, right? That is the thing. Then later on, that's all. With that, this chapter is going to be end. Let us say virtual private gateways. Okay. You can connect an existing data center to VPC using either hardware or software VPN connections, which will make VPC an extension of the data center. Okay. Amazon offers two ways to connect a corporate network through a VPC with virtual private gateway or customer gateway. You remember in the introduction chapter we were discussing about these things in the diagrams?
Yes, sir.
So VPG, virtual private gateway, you can use it, or customer gateway also can be used it. But what happens when you are using it? You can have this kind of combination also. Customer gateway can be installed it at the customer network, and VPC can be installed here in AWS premises within the VPC. Right? Then when it is configured, there is a funnel process. Funnel process will work like connecting between these two gateways. Okay. Network funnel process. In VP, it is a VPC funnel process. It is called.
Tunnel, sir.
FUNNL.
Oh,
funnel process. Okay. So a customer a virtual private gateway is a connector concentrated on the AWS side of the VPN connection. If you see VPC is connected here, then customer gateway represents a physical device or a software application on the customer side of VPN connection. So basically, when it is installed here, it recognizes there is a connectivity request coming from VPC into the data center. So, but connection is going to be established through the VPN connection, virtual private networking connection. That virtual private networking connection, how it is there? Let us say in earlier days we used to have FTP process to connect to particular system, right? That used to have network. In network we used to connect the systems through FTP protocol. Yes. That is also part of the TCP. It's not. It is part of the TCP IP only, but FTP is directly connected to the IP address. Yes. But here, what happens through private network, you can have connections. This private network, what happens? It is software is configured in both places. Through the software, it is going to connect to network domain. Okay. Yes, sir. So after these two elements of an Amazon VPC have been created, the last step is to create VPN tunnel. Sorry, not funnel, it is tunnel.
Oh, it's a tunnel.
I am mistaken actually. That it is called tunnel. As VPN tunnel is established after traffic is generated from customer side of VPN connection. So here the request will be sent from VPC to connect it. Then later on, it is going to be coming here request. So here, if you see in this diagram, VPC subnet is there, router is there, VPC private gateway is there, VPN connection is there, customer gateway is there, customer network is there. So here, whatever you are interacting, it is need to be configured this way. Even if you want to do a POC with your desktop setting, you need to have these configurations. VPN connector should be configured. But there are softwares, trial version softwares. Through that also you can connect it to AWS. You are getting?
Yes, sir. From what I'm getting, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. So there are softwares, trial softwares. Those softwares will provide the connectivity. But in VPC, we don't need software. VPC, we can configure directly with VPC in our account. But in customer gateway place, yes, we have to have some softwares for VPN connection purpose. Then customer gateway can be configured here. There are some patches will be given by AWS that can be installed in the location. You take your desktop let us say you have a Windows NT, and I mean Windows server, then that server can be configured to have as a customer network. Then you need to configure the related stuff also on the server. Related stuff means maybe you might have Active Directory, such kind of things also, but you may not require immediately just to have simple connection. You need to have a VPN connection. VPN connection purpose, there is software. Okay, that need to be configured later on. Okay, so so here next one is you must specify the type of the routing that you plan to use when you create a VPN connection. You know, in route table, what happens? Route table, for every gateways we are using in the route table last row to connect to that particular gateway. CGW we have seen, in NAT gateway also we have seen, NAT instance also we have seen, because route table need to have that kind of thing. And another thing, it need to have a separate subnet. Separate subnet means like you want to have VPN type of the subnet. Private, public and VPN subnets are there, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. So you must specify type of the routing that you plan to use when you create a VPN connection. If the CGW supports border gateway protocol, then configure the VPN connection for dynamic routing. Otherwise, configure the connections for static routing. Basically, what happens? There are protocols, network protocols you are following. It depends on the VPN software. You need to select those things. Those softwares will give specifications while setup itself.
BGP means what
Border gateway protocol is it is a kind of endpoint kind of thing. Yes, the network need to be there up to that part kind of thing. As a mandatory. I want to have only these networks connection, not other networks. Let us say if the call is coming from hacker to the VPN connection, what happens? That way. So those you will learn from the software configurations that time how to do all this. So the routes will be propagated to the VPC to allow your resources to route network traffic back to the corporate network through VGW, virtual gateway basically, and across VPN tunnel. So here, if you see here, VPC is connected to different corporate networks, different locations. In every location, data center or on-premises location, you have VPN connections. There are customer gateways configured. VPN is configured. So this VPN, what happens? It pings back to VPC network, and that network need to allow protocol in a topology wise.
Yes.
If it's a physical network, there is a topology. Intra-networking kind of thing, it is connected. But both are networks only. This is a virtual private network and virtual private cloud network. Basically, this is a traditional network. But in both networks, it is connected through the gateways.
Yes.
Whereas VPC peering, you don't need those things because it is all setup is there in the cloud itself, in the same cloud.
Okay, all through VPN connection.
Yes, outside cloud.
Okay.
Okay. See, there are multi-cloud environments also with this concept. One VPC to another cloud network also you can connect it through this process. That is a separate this one actually. Under multi-cloud it comes.
Okay.
But the concept is same.
Okay.
You need to enter into their
one side is Azure, other side is AWS. Like
AWS,
that it will be.
yes,
Okay.
yes. But there are APIs with AWS, with Azure also to connect to each of them. So that particular components need to be initiated. Let us say you have VPC
Here. Yes, sir.
and another network is there with Azure. Azure might have a networking concept there. Some gateways they want to install it to connect with other cloud services. Then this will have configuration for Azure and vice versa connection is going to be established. Once the connection is established, you will be routing the information.
But ultimately, which one we use? We use a AWS VPN gateway and a This one, or we use Azure one if I want to interconnect between these two?
No. Here I am talking about the traditional network only, but in
Traditional.
multi-cloud, the facilities like that I am saying to you.
Oh, okay.
You are not talking, we are not in the multi-cloud setup here,
Okay.
but the extension I am saying to you, multi-cloud is implementing, they are implementing, but all vendors have got the APIs.
Okay. I'm
Okay,
getting.
if you want to get machine learning of service from GCP, from AWS, yes, you will have connectivity with GCP network.
Okay, sir.
So that way, those services also can be called. So those interfaces are built by the cloud vendors, I'm saying.
Okay, sir.
Hmm?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, so VPC also supports multiple CGWs, each having VPN connection to single VPC, many to one design. Like one VPC is there with one private network, and it is connected to multiple corporate offices with different locations. Basically, it doesn't matter how many networks it is connected in the on-premises networks. So that is going to be managed it, right? Then on top of this VPC, another VPC can be peered it, right?
Yes, sir.
So let us say from Chicago network, one customer is asking some database information, but that is not sitting here. When the request comes, what happens? The request will go out to another VPC under peering concept.
Okay, sir.
So all networks are working that way only, right?
Yes, sir.
So that features are available. I mean, you need to think in a broad, my idea, broad architecture wise also. In corporates, it happens the same way. Intra networking is more because of the applications are connected. In cloud also, it is going to happen the same way. But design need to be done perfectly. Network design.
Okay, sir.
So, in order to support this topology, CGW IP addresses must be unique within the region. So, what is the procedure here? Your private IPs are connected through all these networks. There should not be duplicate network, CIDR IPs. Why? Because the entire structure is in one network only.
Okay, sir.
Right, I told you don't use 65,000 IPs in VPC. So in live, what happens? You are supposed to use the required IPs only, but when our need comes, you need to keep on adding to the CIDR block of the VPC.
We are using, I think I saw today, we have only two VPC, like income production to only two VPC in my environment. They're using most of the subnets are coming from 27, 28.
IPs.
Yes, sir. 27, the slash 27 slash 28.
Right. But if you are using the serverless computing concept, like RDS is configured, it takes care of everything.
Okay.
We don't need to worry about those things. Only thing is one subnet need to be attached to that particular servers, RDS system, RDS services. Anyhow, we are going to see them later in that chapters. So Amazon VPC will provide the information needed by the network administrator to configure CGW and establish the VPN connection with VPG. So that's where AWS has got these gateways also to configure. If you see the list left side in the VPC components, it might appear this VPC in first page itself. The VPN connection consists of two internet protocols. One is IP security, internet protocol security tunnels for higher availability to the Amazon VPC. So these all are having security procedures. So once the connection is established, it recognizes from where it is coming, point to point connectivity kind of things. VPN connections are point-to-point protocol, P2P protocol only, right? Following are the important points to understand about VPGs, CGWs, and VPNs for the exam. VPG is the AWS end of the VPN tunnel, And CGW is a hardware or software application on the customer side of the VPN tunnel. You must initiate VPN tunnel from the CGW to the VPG. So basically from the customer network, you need to initiate that call to
There
the
is a software we need to install, sir, for CGW or
CGW, the AWS procedure is there. There is a CGW procedure. You need to follow those steps.
Okay.
For every gateway, yes, procedure is there, configuration procedure.
Okay.
So you must initiate VPN tunnel from the CGW to the VPG, and VPG support both dynamic routing with BGP and static routing. As we discussed here, depends on the VPN software what you are configuring it, depends on the protocol chosen, it supports that. So the VPN connection consists of two tunnels for higher availability to the VPC, because it can have receiving and sending information also, like asynchronous way, sending and receiving. If you see 20 years back, when APIs were introduced in the web technology, there is some noise. We used to have XMLs. XML started with sending information, receiving information.
Yes, sir. XML.
Sender and receiver kind of XMLs used to be there across the applications with APIs. So now later on they became a asynchronous communication like that. But here they are following the old procedure only, still with compliance with the VPN setup. VPN has got that kind of setup.
Okay, sir.
Right. That's all this one. Then I will stop this here.